Okay, so suppose we need to factor this trinomial that has a quadratic coefficient that's not just 1. See, people are used to factoring quadratics like x squared minus 5x plus 6. So you just ask yourself, what uh, you said that with x and x because you know that x times x equals x squared, and you know that these two numbers are going to have to multiply to 6 and add to negative 5. So you know it's going to be minus 2 and minus 3. And suppose we change this to a, oops, suppose we change this to a minus 6 here. Then we know the two numbers have to multiply to negative 6 and add up to negative 5. So the two numbers would be plus 1 and minus 6. 1 times negative 6 is negative 6, and 1 plus negative 6 is negative 5. So you can just play that little game. Well, it's not so easy when you have this leading coefficient other than 1, because we could just play the game, okay, 2x and x. We know that it has to be 2x and x. And so these two numbers are going to have to multiply 3. Well, this one actually ends up being really easy because there's only one way to get 3. It's either plus 1 and plus 3 or the other way around. So we could just guess and check here. But they get more complicated, so guessing and checking becomes more difficult. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't be plus 1 plus 3 because we need a minus 7x, so it would be a minus 1 and a minus 3. And in fact, that does work out. If we guessed wrong the first time, we would check ourselves and say, oh, well, minus 3x and minus 2x, this would be correct if this was minus 5x. But since it's minus 7x, it has to be the other way. Now, but let me show you, let's pretend we didn't do it this way because occasionally it ends up being easier to just guess and check. But it's nice to have a method that will work all the time. So I'm going to take, pretend like we don't know that again. So I'm going to take this leading coefficient. We call that A. That's the leading coefficient, A, and then negative 7 would be B. But I'm not interested in B right now. I'm interested in A and C. Okay? A times C is what I'm interested in. A times C equals 6. This is the product. 6 is, we want to find two numbers that multiply to 6. Okay? And the middle number, the B, he is still our sum, just like he was before. So the only difference kind of is you're not looking for two numbers that multiply to 3. You're looking for two numbers that multiply to 6 and add to negative 7. Multiply to 6 and add to negative 7. What are the two numbers? Well, two numbers are negative 1 and negative 6. Negative 1 and negative 6. The negative 1 times negative 6 is 6. Negative 1 plus negative 6 is negative 7. So once you've found the two numbers, then you set it up this way. You say 2x. We just put 2x in front of both of the factors. Okay? Put 2x in front of both of the factors, and we stick negative 1 in one of them, and we stick negative 6 in the other one. Now, it's kind of a mathematical trick, and the purpose of this video is not to explain the trick, but it's sound. So, love my phone. So, what we do is we take this second factor because both of the terms have a 2 in them. We just divide that 2 out. And so we end up with 2x minus 1 times, instead of 2x minus 6, we divide that down to x minus 3. And that is the correct factorization as we saw up here. 2x minus 1 times x plus 3. All right, let's do one more example just to solidify the process now. So we're going to take our A number and our C number, A and C, and well, actually, you know what? Let's do this first. I think it's much easier to whenever you're factoring something, if the leading coefficient is negative, you can just multiply everything through by -1 and turn it into wait a second. Let's actually do another one that works out that is a better example. -2, oh good grief, -2x squared plus 5x plus 3. When I multiply it through by -1 on that last one, everything's going to be turned positive, which makes it kind of too easy. So, but again, I want to multiply things through by -1, so I'm going to end up with 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. Okay, so now we're going to take our 2 and our -3. So 2 times -3 equals -6. So we want to find two numbers whose product is -6 and whose sum is -5. What two numbers multiply to -6 and add up to -5? That would be -6 and 1. They multiply to -6 and they add up to -5. So here we do our little trick, 2x and 2x. And we put a -6 in one, and we put a +1 in the other. And so then one of these is we can divide down. So this guy is the 2x minus 6 becomes x minus 3 when we divide the 2 out of both terms. So we got x minus 3 times 2x plus 1. Now notice this does not multiply to this because it's actually the opposite. So what you can do to fix that, we multiplied by -1 at the beginning. So let's multiply one of these two factors by -1. So just turn one of them into the opposite of what it is to make up for the fact that we multiplied through by -1 to begin with. And we can check by forming -x times 2x is 2x squared. -x times 1 is -x plus 6x plus 3. And that would be the -5x in the middle. So it does check.